Oh my god, holy mass route. Oh my god, scare enemies is so good. Hey, I am Triple Z Hacker, and happy Halloween to you all. What better way to celebrate this spooky season than with some Total War Shogun 2? Consider this video as a special treat, or possibly trick, to help devastate your opponents in multiplayer Avatar Conquest. You see, Shogun 2 has a lot of spooky aspects to it. There's Warcry, Whistling Arrows, Shingen's Stash, Chad Ashigaru with Pokey Sticks, Tiny Sticks that go boom, the legendary Mempo Mask, and much more. However, there's one ultimate fear effect, and that is scare enemies. To explain scare enemies, I've come to the managed armies and veteran units of Avatar Conquest, and basically scare enemies, or scare nearby enemies as the game labels it here, is one of the most broken abilities in all of Shogun 2, and I'm going to argue that it's possibly one of, if not the best, in all of Shogun 2. You see, Scare Nearby Enemies allows the unit that possesses this ability to deal a morale penalty to enemy units near them. As it says here, enemies close to this unit will suffer a morale penalty, and that second line is why it's so broken. This effect is always active. I mean, think about that. In most of Shogun 2, you got Bonsai, Warcry, Hold Firm, Rally. I mean, most abilities all have these time constraints. They don't last forever. The effects only last for a small duration, then you have to wait for the cooldown to use it again. But with Scare Nearby Enemies, the effect is permanent. It's always there throughout the entire battle. And that's just such a broken aspect of why it's, I think, really great. Now, how do you grant veteran units this ability? Well, the way it works is that this ability becomes available to a veteran unit once they reach rank 9. And as you can see here, this Lone Star Ashigaru is rank 9. And through the upgrade path, you can see under the clan skill upgrades, Scare Enemies is here. It requires 20 clan tokens, 8 other skills that have been selected, and membership of a sword specialism clan. And very few units can actually get the Scare Enemies ability. In fact, it's only available to sword and cav units, and only one cav unit in particular, and that is Great Guard, which you can see here. And of course, for Great Guard, you need to be in a cav specialism clan. Now, the reason I possess this Great Guard unit with Scare Enemies and Bonsai as only 2 ranks is a couple reasons. I'll explain them really briefly. So there used to be a mod that allowed you to get clan skill upgrades at rank 9 at a veteran unit that was rank 1. So I got a few of them just to meme around a little bit. They are, of course, illegal, or however you want to put it, hacking units. But again, you know, I gotta live up to my YouTube name. Am I right? Triple Z Hacker. Kidding. But anyways, I rarely use, and in fact never use, this unit because it's just so broken and unfair to have just 2 ranks and it be Bonsai and Scare Enemies, because this is supposed to be at the 9th rank. Of course, also that mod that gave the, I believe it was rank 9, you know, upgrades at rank 1 also allowed people to not really have to worry about clan specialization. And when I mean clan specialization, you know, in Shogun 2 Avatar, you join a Steam group that is like your clan in Avatar Conquest or from multiplayer, and they have a specific specialization, whether it be cav, bow, sword, spear, etc. I'll make a video on that in the future for you guys, but for now, just know that only cav and sword units can get this ability. Now, whether sword units can get it, well, you can see here that like these Waka Raiders can get Scare Enemies, Nodachis can also get Scare Enemies. Additionally, there are some ninja as well. Here they can get the Scare Enemies ability. I believe Hanzo Shadows as well. But the only cav unit that can get it is Great Guard. Now, one of the other things to keep in mind with Scare Enemies is that also your avatar themselves can get the Scare Nearby Enemies if you do the leadership general path. And what I mean by that, well, let's go to the avatar here real briefly. We can go to the skills tree. You can see here Scare Nearby Enemies. Now, this effect, you know, is broken. Of course, it's just like how the ability for units work. But the thing about scare nearby enemies is that there's also a retainer that I do mention earlier in the video here. If we open up the retainers list, I'll grab it real quickly. It is, let me see, it's a legendary retainer, so very rare, but it is the Hideous Mempo Mask. As you can see, it gives a morale penalty to units close to your avatar. This is important because the Mempo Mask, if we were to, let's say, apply it here real briefly to our avatar, find it again, this Mempo Mask does not stack with the scare enemies. In fact, the Mempo Mask is almost negated at this point. It's bugged to where it does not work with scare enemies, in which case you would have to change your general to bow mastery, or just go to a bow or melee focused avatar with the Mempo Mask, as it just does not stack with the scare enemies in the leadership tree. Now, for other morale malices that apply, I believe that the scare nearby enemies does stack. So for instance, you could have a war cry, whistling arrows, scare nearby enemies, things like that, and just stack morale malices on top of each other to the point where it just overwhelms and devastates your opponents. And that's why scare nearby enemies is so good, because basically you don't need a monk to war cry if your lone swords are spooky, scary. So I mean, these Chad lone swords just devastate people because already got bonsai, and throw on scare enemies, it just makes them incredibly powerful. Of course, again, monks, if we open them up, they can't get these scare enemies. Instead, they get bonsai, as some of the special or inspire, things like that, but they do not get scare enemies. Same with like bulletproofs. I mean, long yaris thankfully don't get scare enemies, they just get hold firm. So I mean, again, just that would be super broken if long yaris got scare enemies. But yeah, so you can see here that some units have this ability. Alright, with that explanation out of the way, I'm now going to show you guys how scare enemies works on the battlefield. And so I'm going to fight against the AI real briefly, and then I'm going to have a match-made battle for you guys where I can demonstrate scare enemies in all its glory. Alright, so here's the quick custom battle versus the AI, and we got the AI Oda with some long yaris versus these lone swords. And just to show you guys again how scare enemies works in battle. Now, of course, these lone swords will probably beat these long yaris anyways, but with scares enemies, it's going to really make a difference, and I hope you guys all see that when these two lines clash. Now, again, you can notice the unit has it based off the unit card here, and one of the things I forgot to address kind of in my explanation was that some people believe this ability to be bugged, which it very well might be, oftentimes because it's really hard to tell if it's actually working. And you'll see that sort of as these two engage. We'll pop the bonsai on the charge, because why not? Do the stand and fight as well. And you can see already off the bat, if we just pause here, you can see this flag just already wavering. Winded, concerned, they're losing the current combat, of course. I mean, lost so many on the charge. But you can see just that flag already wavering, and the scare nearby enemies having an effect really quickly. I mean, there's just red already. And I mean, these lone swords are also just beasts as well, but like, look, they're already routing, generals still fully healthy. Of course, the AI manages, units terribly and stuff, and you can see that they've already broken, and their generals retreating, stuff like that. But I mean, what you'll notice is that like the morale stat for the long yaris doesn't change. You don't really see much. Again, it's a hidden stat that is always present. But yeah, there's potential that it's been bugged, and I'll have to unpack the files and see for myself, but I know it is a hidden stat, very much like, the Bulletproof Samurai with their sort of unique stat, their bulletproof stat, I guess is the best way to put it, but their stat that enables to turn bullets into like arrow damage, for instance, things like that. I'm not entirely sure exactly how it all calculates. Again, I'd have to go back and do some digging and stuff, but ultimately I do plan to make more about scare enemies. But I really wanted to show this ability now to you all because it's just so powerful, and you can see already how it looks in a 1v1. Now, for this upcoming Matchmade Battle, I found an opponent, and of course, I typically don't use like these lone swords or even the great guards with their scare enemies abilities, but for this video, I wanted to use them to show you scare enemies in all its glory. So I hope you guys enjoy this Matchmade Battle I have for you all. Alright, so this is some live footage for you guys of a battle. You guys can watch me play this, but we're going to be featuring these two lone swords here with the scare enemies. You saw that on the right side of the screen. Of course, we have the great guard here as well with the scares enemies. So again, going to be featuring this ability quite a bit. Of course, playing against random opponent here in Avatar Conquest. This is medium funds battle, so of course I'm littered with attendants here, basically. And yeah, so here we got an opponent that's got a very missile-oriented army, outnumbers me, let's see, fire protecting mangonels even. So dang, I'm getting stunted on, so to speak. But yeah, I just want to feature these units for a battle here just to show off these abilities. Of course, this is going to be, I wouldn't say relatively tricky, but easier said than done. I mean, outnumbered by a lot of units, got tons of matchlocks, bows, and it looks like just all Ashigar army though, so this kind of bodes well for us. Few units of cav here and there. Whoops, totally forgot to get the sword dojo there. Almost pulled the Voland. But yeah, this is pretty much a little bit why I really wanted to do this, and why I wanted to show you guys is because in Avatar it can be really broken. And it seems like my opponent's content with sitting back, which is fine by me. We'll just play this relatively slow. And I do apologize, I didn't really begin recording for this video until rather late, so yeah, that's why it's a little bit impromptu, I guess is the best word to describe it. But yeah, I mean, overall we're outnumbered quite a bit, but the scares enemies should help if we're able to mount a solid attack. I mean, I'm assuming those fire protecting mangonels are going to be sniping my general. They won't succeed though, but it's going to be funny regardless if they do, especially. Yeah, he's not getting the archery dojo, which I find super shocking, considering this army he's got. Don't even really want to go after the mangonels, to be honest, but we'll advance up a bit on all sides. Just, you know, we'll have the farmhouse for the stamina and the speed, and this cav should be able to beat Yari cav. Yeah, bow cav as well. Bow samurai, it looks like. Bow Ashgar, so yeah, I mean, it's going to be not tricky, just gotta be careful to not get general sniped, and to not just lose units willy-nilly. But yeah, would really love to uncap the shrine even, but again, it's all about these lone swords here and the great guards. Just gotta be careful of these matchlocks here as well. But yeah. Let's have them just pull troops away from the front line. We got everybody everywhere, right? Slowly just creep up on the position. Every direction. These attendants will be nice because they're already in loose formation, so again, you know, they'll heat up a few things. Those mangonels tried to shoot the great guard, I think they did. Unless that was the bow cab. But yeah, just uncap this real quick. Again, just move away from the guns here, and slowly again just keep the pressure up in all directions, all sides. Really hope that light cap doesn't get caught. And the bow cap can do what they want, but over here we get the high ground. Kind of again just force them out of that position they have. Alright, got clear shot on mangonels, but not really the target we want. Going for the general, of course. You could even route the mangonels though, that's fine. He's wasting Yari Cab there as well. Lone swords are fine. General's down as well, looks like. So maybe I won't get the showcase them. Who knows? But yeah, there we go. It's pretty nice. Again, we can charge in right here. The Yari Cab might route. Guns firing, that's okay. We'll pop a little rally. And again, just have the cab do work. Those sword attendants should do fine, but yeah, you can see just right here, like, this is actually not really ideal gameplay because these guys are going to take a volley. But cab, what you doing? Let's pop bonsais. Don't really need to, but yeah, you can see, like, when they instantly hit, just look at that routing. It's absurd. I mean, the general's already dead, so it kind of defeats the purpose, but we'll have the Great Guard come in here as well. Throw bonsai on them too. And I mean, just look at this. Oh my god, holy mass route. Oh my god, scare enemies is so good. Look at all those units just melting. Alright, so if we take a moment to look at the stats from that battle, you can kind of see here that the lone swords really shined, and I expected them to because, again, you know, that scare enemies ability is so powerful. I mean, you saw once they got into the fight that units began to waver. Of course, you know, the Great Guard didn't really excel in kills, but just flanking with cav alone is devastating, but having scare enemies as well with them makes a huge difference. So I hope you guys see how this battle really just shows this ability off and demonstrates that it can just create a mass rout relatively quickly. Of course, my opponent did lose their general as well, and of course I was facing an opponent that was less experienced than I am, so I'm not trying to necessarily dunk on them. I'm just trying to demonstrate exactly sort of how scares enemies works and why it's just so broken in this game. And I think this battle did a great job of doing that. So I think if you guys have the opportunity, make sure to get some units with scares enemies because it's really, really exciting. As I've stated in most of my videos, morale is everything in Shogun 2, and the scare enemy's ability further demonstrates how effective and exciting it can be to inflict morale penalties on your enemies. The reason why I make these types of videos for you all is that this game has a plethora of aspects that most players never get a chance to discover through their time when playing it, and I really want to share as much information as possible as I can about this glorious game that we all love. So I do hope you found this video both entertaining and informative, and as always, like and subscribe for more Shogun 2 and Total War content. I will be back with part 3 of my unit ability guide shortly, and more videos are coming soon. Thank you all again for watching, and take care.